Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collingwood, and I'm here to do a video. I want to talk about Halloween Kills, the casting of it so far, how I feel about it. I don't feel great about it right now, you know, for my mind, for my heart, because I get them bringing back Tommy Doyle and, you know, Lindsay Wallace, and they brought back the girl who originally played her, and that's all well and good. That's cool. But my hope for Halloween Kills was all new characters. We got new characters in Halloween 2018, and I said I've liked Hawkins, and I've gotten into that a bunch, and I don't want to keep rehashing. So my big thing is, what's Tommy Doyle's purpose other than, again, he's not going to be an antagonist. He's not going to be somebody who hates Laurie Strode, but he's, to me, what are you bringing Tommy back and maybe even Lindsay back for, other than to say, look, especially Tommy, because I could see it mainly being Tommy, because I think, in my opinion, Tommy, how he was in 1978 as a boy is pretty much how he's going to be in 1978 as a man. I could even see Tommy saying, remember what I told you that night? And either Laurie's going to say yeah or no, and he's going to say, I told you, you can't kill the boogeyman. And to me, he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak, in my view. I mean, what's his purpose there? And I've sort of gave a prediction about Halloween Kills that I think they're going to have a copycat killer. Whether they do or don't, to me now is irrelevant, because now you have Jamie Lee Curtis, you have, you know, who's coming back, you have, Laurie. I'll name the characters. You have Laurie Strode, Tommy Doyle, Lindsay Wallace, who are all back from the original. This sort of feels like something they should have more did in 2018 than now. And I did hear that when they were doing 2018 that that Lindsay Wallace, Kylie Richards was considered to come back. So I'm sort of wondering, why didn't they just have her back then, or her and Tommy back then, instead of just having them now? So my curiosity with this is, where exactly are they going to say they've been? Or have they just been in Haddonfield the whole time? Or are they just now coming back? And why are they coming back specifically? Because Tommy Doyle, if Tommy Doyle is how I picture him, how I see him, where he's just antagonizing Laurie Strode to a degree. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be an antagonist. He's going to be antagonistic. And there's a difference. Antagonistic is somebody who keeps bothering you and you want them to leave you the hell alone. An antagonist is somebody who just terrorizes the shit out of you. And that's Michael Myers. But my concern with this is, let's say they do a copycat killer. Sorry, I'm stuttering my words. And again, that's just my prediction. I could be wrong. And they have it be Tommy Doyle. I can't see it, and again, I'm not saying they will have a copycat killer. That's something I believe they'll have, and I could be wrong. But my other thing is, how big is Tommy and Lindsay's role going to be in this? Like, okay, let's say you have one. If you have one character that's going, oh no, he's alive, like, let's say Tommy, or even let's say it's Lindsay, you don't want it to be both. In my view, you just don't, because that would get overbearing. Two people going at one woman, or even, especially Laurie, because the emphasis is, for me, is it going to be just Laurie that either Tommy or Lindsay talk to and try to convince that he's still alive? Or is this going to be like a social media thing where they're in the public eye and they're saying, no, I believe he's still alive? Because while, in Halloween 2018, we've heard Laurie's side of this, we've heard Karen's side of this, we've heard, we've seen Allison's point of view on both of them somewhat, and I'd love to see more of her point of view on all of this. I don't know how much of that we will or won't get. But in the same sense, the two people we haven't heard from, and maybe this is why they're bringing them back, and that would be another way I could see them doing this, is we're going to hear from their perspective of that night of 1978, because really, and some people might say, what's their perspective? All Tommy kept saying was he saw the boogeyman, he saw the boogeyman. And that's true. That could be a hindrance where he's saying, I saw him and I thought he was so evil. I thought he was the boogeyman. You could have that. So that's sort of going to be my thing. Are we going to hear from a public standpoint what their version of events was that night? Because remember, Laurie Strode leaves the house and they're sleeping apparently, and Tommy is sleeping. Tommy was asleep. Tommy was rubbing his eyes, okay, and then he comes down and unlocks the door. So I'm curious to see, are we going to get their perspective from that night of 1978, and really what is that going to be? Because for the most time, they were watching movies, and all Tommy kept saying was he saw the boogeyman, he saw the boogeyman. So what else can he really say? And again, is this going to be a public thing where they're going through the public eye and just sort of going, well, we saw him too, and this is what or especially Tommy. Tommy saw him more than Lindsay. Lindsay only really saw Michael Myers one time, and that was in the house when Tommy said to Lori, "You can't kill the boogeyman," and they saw Michael standing right there. So to me, that's going to be the only moment Lindsay can say she saw him, unless they're going to add some sort of something, again, change something out of John Carpenter's Halloween. And really, again, I don't want John Carpenter's Halloween changed to death. That's not something I really want to have happen. So my hope is they just stick with that, that's where Lindsay saw him, because that's the only time we see Lindsay see him, is there in the house, is when Laurie's knelt down in front of them and talking to them and telling them to go, or telling them everything's okay, sorry. And Tommy said, "You can't kill the boogeyman," and there he is. So that's going to be my thing of this, and that's sort of where I'm worried of, okay, I get Tommy's probably going to be more the intellect, you would think would be the more intellectual of what he saw, because he saw more. But again, anytime he saw Mike, I saw the boogeyman. Lindsay only saw him one damn time. So that's sort of my concern with bringing these characters back here. And I'm just hoping, their characters come across really well, and come across to the point of they actually have a story to tell. They're not just there to be antagonist. And what I mean antagonistic. And by antagonistic, I mean antagonistic towards Laurie Strode to the point of they're annoying the hell out of her, or they're just being annoying themselves of, he's alive, he's alive, he's alive. If I could see one of them saying that, and maybe, Lindsay's doubting it, and Lindsay just wants to move on, and Lindsay just maybe wants to see Laurie again. I don't know what that's going to be, what the interaction will be. But again, for right now, they have a lot of old characters. They're relying on older characters. And it's sort of something I touched on about with Dark Shadows too. You don't want to keep relying on older characters. You want to bring new characters to the forefront. To me, the one character who would have made the most sense to have in this Halloween Kills, if they do have him, would be Charles Cypress. And people say, well, he's an older character. Yeah, but again, there was the Hawkins thing that they never to me showed a proper flashback. And they could through Charles Cypress. They could through his character of Lee Brackett. And that's sort of what I would hope for. And then have a bunch of new characters. Again, just like with Dark Shadows, where I want new characters, same thing with the Halloween franchise. And that's something the sequels did also well. They introduced you to new characters, new fresh faces. And Halloween 2018 did that, even though they killed, some of them a good bit of them were kill bait. And that's sort of where I'm lying with this, where I go, if you're really going to just introduce new characters and they're going to be just kill bait, that's sort of to me so wasteful. And I get, I'm sure they have a plan in motion I'm sure they'll prove me wrong, but my thing of it is just to have these old characters, and if they're your main focus, then, and I've sort of questioned this even prior to this cast announcement, I really wonder how much Allison will be involved in this actual story. And I think we will see Allison, but I think we're going to see a lot less of Allison because of these older characters coming back. I think she'll be in the story, but not in the story of a way of the way we think. Because, and I hope I'm wrong, I hope she is heavily in this story, but from on the outside looking in, I'm seeing Lori, I'm seeing Tommy, I'm seeing Lindsay. So I'm seeing not just one now, you have two characters from the original movie, and I go, okay, that's nice, that is, but where's the new young characters that I want to be interested in? Where's Allison's story going to fall in on all of this? Not so much Lori's story. I mean, we know Lori's story. We know what it is. And it really, I don't want to keep hearing it time and time again. And I'm not trying to complain. But, again, I more want new characters and new storytelling from the aspect of interacting with Michael Myers. So, I'm really curious, what is Tommy and Lindsay's role going to be? Are they going to be antagonistic? I can't see why one of them at least wouldn't, but both of them, like I said, it would be annoying. And again, I'm just hoping for brand new characters for Allison to more interact with, not just the same old characters from Halloween 1 where it's now we got Tommy, we got Lindsay. Again, the only really character I wanted back in this was Charles Cypress, was Lee Brackett, because he made the most sense. And I don't know if he's going to be in this or not, but... And I'll end this with this, and here's my question. Who do you guys want to see? Are you guys hoping to see Lee Brackett? I know I am. My just hope on all this is we get new characters, because that's the thing I'm for with Dark Shadows as well, where I want brand new characters, just like with Halloween. I want brand new characters for you to build a story around. So that's my thoughts on the Halloween Kills cast so far from what I've seen, because it just seems like they're going back to go forward, and I get that in some sense, because sometimes you do got to go back to go forward, but just to have two familiar characters, and they seem to be, it just seems to me like if they're going to be the main focus of the story, and so is Lori, what's going to be the equivalent of having them there other than one of them or both of them being antagonistic and being antagonistic towards Lori, to where making her doubt that Michael is dead? Because if that's all they're there for, again, some of that would be nice, but I really want them more. I want them there more than just that, is what I'm trying to say. Give them more to do. Don't just make them one-dimensional. So that's my hope too, as well. New characters, and not having your older characters just be one-dimensional and predictable. So I hope you guys liked this video. I'm gonna do my review of Whispers, the Return of Dark Shadows, chapter 1 of the whole final chapter later tonight. So I'll see you guys tonight. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.